Hello, so today I want to talk about the Astonishing by Dream Theater, an album that was released in 2016. I had a chance to review that album on my channel, and the review was not that favorable. It was quite neutral. It wasn't negative either. It was quite neutral because in a way I felt disappointed when the album came out because of the amount of ballads and quiet moments. And the problem is that I had this preconceived idea on my mind as to what the album should sound like. With all the speculation and the build up towards the release date really made us think that this was going to be an epic, like super full of progressive moments, like long instrumentals all the time that represented the battles of the story. So when the album landed, it was a bit of a disappointment because those epic moments, are not really there as much compared to other previous albums. So that's why most people felt let down by this release, and also the fact that we had to wait another 2-3 years for a new release of Dream Theater was a bit of a letdown. I put down listening to that record for a long time because it was not my favorite. Still to this day, not my favorite at all. But I decided to give it another chance, in the last few weeks, and I've been listening to it again. And to be fair, it actually sounds much better than it did back in 2016, in my opinion, because obviously we had time to listen to it, to get used to the sound. And also, when I go back to these records, I already know what to expect. I already know what's going to happen, so I don't have this preconceived notion or ideas of what the album should sound like anymore. Having said that, I think there's a lot of things to be discovered on this album, for fans of the more melodic, mellow side of Dream Theater. There's a lot of very beautiful ballads, piano ballads with guitars on the background and stuff like that. So for people that like that side of the band a lot more, this is going to be a great album to listen to. Now there's a lot of divide between fans regarding this album. Some people love it a bit, some people hate it. I'm kind of in between, but more leaning towards the loving side because it's growing on me all the time, and this is a very risky undertaking, really risky album to release, for to a well-established fan base, because I think Dream Theater fans are really savage sometimes. They can be super passionate, but at the same time they really like to overanalyze everything, every single detail. And I think I'm one of them, but the difference is that I like to approach every album with an open mind. I don't like to live in the past, with all these fans that keep whining about Mike Portnoy's departure and this and that, or about the sound of the snare drum, which I know it sounds a bit bad, a bit to be fair, it's not my favorite drum sound on this album and in the previous one. But if you overlook those details, the album is great, in my opinion. It's got great moments, it's got great ballads, beautiful stuff that makes you feel emotional. But on the other hand, it's nowhere near perfect. This is far from perfect. I think the album is way too long. I do understand what they were trying to do, and I appreciate it, because few bands have the guts, the balls to do this kind of thing and be successful. So I think 5-10 years down the line, this album is going to gain more success, more recognition from fans, and not only because of the risk that the band took, but also because there's a lot of gems buried underneath all the, all the fluff. But yes, I just wanted to revisit this album, talk about it briefly, and just give it a go. If actually I was watching some reviews from people that either don't know the band or don't like the band, yet they still really enjoy this album more than others because it's very accessible, very very ballad driven. It's not as heavy progressive as previous works. So yeah, if you haven't listened to the Astonishing, listen to it with an open mind. See what you think. You might like it, you might hate it, but I think with time this will gain maybe classic status in the future. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will never gain that status, but I think people will start to accept it more because obviously nostalgia plays a big part in music and how people listen to music and how much they like certain albums. So yeah, just listen to this record because it's good. There's a lot of good stuff that comes out from it. So yeah, the Astonishing Dream Theater. I'm signing out. See you in the next video. Adios. I quite like the fact that this camera moves with me. It feels like I have a cameraman on the other side, but I don't. It's just the camera that follows my face up and down. How cool is this?